I work in like a co-working space, right? And a lot of people have their phones that when they get a text, it's like that ding, right? And to everybody else, it's completely fine. But for me, that high-pitched little ding noise is really hard to deal with, especially if it's 3 or 4 people and it's like happening all day long. So I have to be able to walk up to them and say, hey, like, this is kind of weird, but I have PTSD and that loud pitch noise is really hard for me to deal with. Do you mind changing it to the bamboo setting? That's like a real natural, like knock, like, and that's like totally fine for me to deal with. And so once I started owning like what I'm dealing with in my space, then I don't have to sit there insufferable. I was having problems with like these like graffiti crews that were like pretty much like gangs. And at one point, I was being chased down the street and there was like a van full of guys with like, baseball bats. And I was able to like get away. But then that night, at home, I was like, I don't want to live like this. Like if I got caught, if I tripped, if I was one step slower, then, being beat up by like 10 guys with bats, I don't know, I'd probably be paralyzed right now, right? Like who could survive that? So from there I was like, okay, I need a way out. And it definitely, I feel like made me a man for sure. Because now in the Coast Guard doing search and rescue, it's not about you anymore, right? It's about your team, it's about your crew, it's about the people that you're trying to save. And then I got to see really good leadership, but I also got to see really bad leadership as well in the military. So I was able to kind of really like get a good holistic experience of what it means to do things outside of your own interest. At times I can be really sensitive to what people's needs and wants are, and I'll be able to stop things and say, hey, like, is this really what you want? But where I really lack is that I'm very decisive and I move fast, right? So I make a decision and I'm on it. And a lot of people aren't like that. And I get really impatient when people aren't as decisive as I am or need more time to process or need more research. And I can get really frustrated with that, right? And so I had to learn that people have different ways of thinking and moving about. And I'm getting better, but I still have a long way to go with that for sure. So let me give you an example for me. So there are some creative endeavors that I'm doing that are artistic in nature, and I own being a control freak, right? Like I want control of this and I don't deny it, right? And so you own that, and by owning that, you're saying like, this is the way that I want it, this is my vision, this is the way I see it, and I want to work with people that will help me make this happen, right? So in that case, I'm okay with that, right? However, if I'm working on a collaboration with the design and clients, and we're doing a front yard and a backyard and a huge project, then you let go of that control aspect and you get into the collaboration mode. Once I saw that this was about to come to fruition, like I had a lot of attention on me, I was getting solo shows, I was selling work well, I looked at that trajectory of what my life would look like, and I realized that it's not really what I want, right? So I worked at something for 10 years, like really hard, and right when I was about to, I guess, break out, right? I thought, this is not what I want. And I think it takes a tremendous amount of discipline courage to know when to back off of something. I've met with some clients, and most of my job is like psychoanalyzing them and just really like trying to understand who they are, how they think. You know, the client was like a real big sports guy. And the wife was like super sweet homemaker. And you just have to like pull out all of these things and then design for them. And then this would be an example of how I relinquish control. I can't just go in and be like, this is what you guys need. I'm the artist, I'm the designer, I'm the visionary. Like that's over. Those days are over. Like those people don't really have a place, you know, as far as like designing for clients, right? But then when it comes to my construction details, that's when then you could bring control back in. So it's like a push and pull. Whereas when somebody makes a mistake, that's not the opportunity to fire them and punish them and to then put somebody else in. That's the most perfect time to give them more responsibility. And every time I've done that as a facilitator or as a professor, people like they puff their chest up a little bit, they feel a little bit more proud, they got some responsibility, and they own it and they walk into it. And the next time that you have them present or that you show their work, they're like on it, like you empower them, right? And any time I've been under good leadership, I always see that quality. Flexibility is going to be really key. My biggest fear in life is to be hunched over. Like that's, I don't know if it's an irrational fear, but that's my biggest fear. Like I want to stand up tall and confident, and I don't want the work to like wear me down. So I think that's where like yoga comes in. It also helps me slow down my mind and be ultra focused, right? So when I do yoga, like when I've done it for like a month straight, like your intuition is so sharp because you're able to quiet that mind, and throughout the workday, different things come in. You're able to make a nice, rash decision because you're focused and you're balanced.